Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a thriller from Germany, German language English subs, released in the year 2015, directed by Sebastian Schipper, and this film is called Victoria. So Victoria is about the main character. Her name is Victoria, she's from Spain, and now she's living in Berlin, Germany, and she's working at a cafe. So on this particular evening, she's dancing at this nightclub, and she meets four friends. Now these four friends, they're very close, and they're very wild, and pretty soon Victoria takes a liking to them. So they end up going from the nightclub out into the streets. They're having fun, they're mucking around, they're stealing cars, so they're doing what they're not supposed to, but Victoria sees this as what she needs in her life. And so they go up to a rooftop, they get to know each other even more, and Victoria takes a liking to one of them in particular. So as that relationship is starting to develop, the group of friends take her to the cafe that she has to open in a few hours, and they say goodnight, and hopefully they're going to see her again. But unfortunately, they're going to see her a lot sooner than they anticipated, because when they come back to the cafe, they say that they're in a spot of bother, and that they need Victoria's help. Now what's happened is that one of these friends had spent time in jail, and when he was in jail he had the protection of a gangster, a local gangster. Now that he's out of jail, the gangster has called the favour to be returned, and in order to do that they're going to have to rob a store and get $10,000, and so they have to pay this gangster the money that they rob, and that he's going to call it quits. So they can't get out of this situation. It's a situation that scares them because they're well out of their comfort zones. So Victoria ends up helping them, but this is going to be a terrible decision because their night is going to go from bad to very bad very quickly. So whether or not they can come out in the end is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Victoria. This is a movie that got a lot of recognition. A lot of people were going on about it. A lot of people saying it was a masterpiece. It was a new direction as far as modern filmmaking is concerned. And it really did call a lot of what made Birdman so great. Now the biggest draw card to Victoria is that it was shot all in one single take. There were no cuts. And so that does take a high level of competency as far as a director is concerned. This is something that Alejandro Iñárritu did very well in Birdman. Is that he created something that no one really had seen before, and so Victoria was that kind of film. And so I thought, with a novelty film, is it going to provide anything else to make it a film that everybody is saying it is? And I will say that I was a little bit disappointed with Victoria, because I don't think it's as good as a lot of people say, because I think a lot of people get blinded by the fact that it's novelty. Is that, yes, it is very competently made, yes, it's very realistic, and the movie allows you the opportunity to be one of these friends. You're going on the journey with them. It takes place over one evening. It's in real time. So I thought the strong level of realism seeps through the screen, and it makes you very uneasy, is because you can't see what traditional films allow you to see. Is basically sometimes you can see one step ahead, but in this movie you're oblivious to the situation as they are, and so it's real time and you're going on with them. And so I thought I was one of the friends. I thought, all right, well, the characters are fairly likable. I thought Victoria was very impressionable. She was influenced by what these friends were doing. And I thought there was a strong sense of being lost as well, is that she was in a foreign country. She didn't know German very well. And that was something that I could relate to, because when I lived in Argentina, I didn't know Spanish very well, and how difficult it can be to actually gravitate to people. And so when Victoria's gravitating to this group of friends, I thought, all right, well, the chemistry's there. I thought it was strong. The foundation for that family atmosphere was there, and I didn't want to see bad things happen to these people. And so although I didn't know them very well, I felt as though, all right, well, you're in Victoria's shoes. Is that you can replace her, and you can actually endure this situation as far as first person is concerned. And so this is something that the single take actually does well, is that, all right, well, you're not seeing over a vast sort of landscape, you're seeing through the eyes of this character. And so it was basically hanging out with a group of friends on this particular evening, and when the heist element comes into the film, and mixing in with the gangsters, this is where the threat comes in. And the fact that, as I said, that very smart use of the camera, it basically clouds a lot of the vision. And when you cloud the vision, you don't know what's around the corner, and so you can't anticipate before these characters do. And so in that regard, as far as a thriller is concerned, I definitely think it thrills you without really much happening, because it's all about the anticipation, and the anticipation is allowed because of the fact that the camera doesn't show you what's ahead. And so that was very good, and that was what I believe was the best part of the film, is the novelty of that single shot. And you can admire the level of skill that Sebastian Schipper has. And so I thought the character of Victoria She wasn't annoying. I thought every character was realistic in some to a degree, but unfortunately, I didn't think the actions of these characters were overly realistic. And so, although you do have suspense because you're putting yourself into the situation and you're actually experiencing as you as a person, there were certain decisions that these characters make that put them in harm's way. So you kind of think to yourself, well, you asked for it, and if you ask for it, you can't really feel as though you're that sorry. And so I thought that if it had more realistic decisions from these characters, it could have been a lot more impactful. And so I thought, well, you could have done this, you could have actually made this decision and you would have actually been free, but unfortunately you've done stupid things, therefore you're inviting danger, and if you invite danger, you can disconnect yourself from the situation. And because the situation wants you to connect to it, I just think that that ability to basically keep yourself at a distance kind of defeats the purpose of the movie. And so it is a real-time kind of film. It does take place over an evening, so it's not really going far as the story is concerned. And so for that, if you can see past the novelty, the movie just doesn't have too much going for it. And so it is a movie that's going through the motions. As I said, it's banking on its novelty to such an extent where after you see past the unique sort of qualities that the movie has, you notice that, all right, well, characters aren't making smart decisions. The characters haven't gone into as much depth as you would get with a traditional film, and the overall, as I said, the set pieces are kind of drawn back a little bit through stupid decisions. Therefore, the suspense levels that the movie has aren't quite as intense as they really could have been. So, pushing that negative aside, I still think it's definitely worth it if you're a fan of different style of filmmaking. But it's not a masterpiece because I just don't think it has enough guts and content to actually make it a movie that complements the novelty of the actual filmmaking. So it's definitely a movie that you admire the skill level, but as far as story and as far as content and substance is concerned, I think it's lacking a little bit, which is the problem I had with Birdman. Birdman had more content than this film, but I just think as far as when not the novelty of filmmaking is your biggest draw card, I just think it's substituting something, and in Victoria's case, it's substituting content and story. So that was the biggest criticism, but it's still definitely a movie I would recommend. I'm going to give Victoria 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next, thank you for watching movies, and I'll see you later.